The Discreet Affair. Welcome back to the channel, mystery lovers. Tonight, we dive deep into a story of love, lies and betrayal. A tale where one private eye learns the hard way. The truth cuts deeper when you're part of the lie. This is The Discreet Affair, a noir-inspired drama that proves even detectives can get played. If you're hooked already, do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe for more gripping original stories, and share this video with someone who loves a good twist. Osborne was in his early 30s, slightly over 6 feet, with strong classic features and thick black hair. He knew he was a handsome man. After 3 years in the business, his private detective agency had a good reputation in the city. He was single and in love. The only drawback to this picture was that the object of his feelings was a married woman. 3 knocks on the door of the office brought him back to reality. "Come in," he said, taking his feet off the desk. A slender middle-aged man with thinning hair and rimless glasses, dressed in an expensive suit, opened the door and walked in. The detective got up from behind his desk and shook the newcomer's hand. "Please sit down. I'm Marcus Osborne, director of the agency. What can I do for you?" He said this with a half-anxious expression which he had practiced in the mirror many times. "My name is Harold Jones." He spoke in a low voice. "You have been highly recommended to me. I have a very sensitive matter to discuss, and I've heard your agency is very discreet." Osborne acknowledged the words with a modest inclination of his head. Looking away, Osborne's new client explained, "I suspect my wife is cheating on me, but I want to be sure. I want you to investigate. Follow her when she leaves our apartment. Let me know where she goes and who she sees. We can give you a complete and detailed report. When would you like it? I guess 2 weeks will be good enough, unless you think you should follow her longer." "We'll see, but 2 weeks may be okay." "Fine. This is my card with my address, and here is an envelope with her picture and a check for an advance payment. I already know your rate. Please don't spare any expense. What's your wife's name?" "Christine Ann." Osborne held his breath. Christine Ann was his lover's name. This man must be her husband. He opened the envelope and looked at the picture and the check, hoping to gain time and recover his cool. Jones perceived his seriousness as a desire to start work on the job at once. "I see you're a man of few words. I'm sure you'll give me a thorough report next time I see you. Good day." Marcus finally found his voice. "Good day, Mr. Jones," he said, getting up from his chair and walking his new client to the door. After Jones was gone, Marcus sat down again at his desk. He was stunned. Mechanically, he opened the lower right-hand drawer and took out a bottle of scotch and a glass. He poured himself a generous shot and, while sipping it, pondered how to handle this tricky situation. So his new client was Christine Ann's husband. Not much to look at, he thought. No wonder she wants to get a divorce and marry me. Besides, he thought, she's in love with me. He knew he couldn't give this client a true report. Still, he had to make a report. He decided to give his operative Scott Palmer the job and to stay away from Christine Ann during the 2 weeks of the investigation. He would tell her about her husband's suspicions later, after he had delivered the report. They would have a good laugh then. 2 weeks later, Scott Palmer, 21, eager and in love with his job, came into Osborne's office. "I've finished the Jones investigation. I'll have the report on your desk first thing tomorrow morning." "Great. Do me a favor now, will you? Call Mr. Jones and ask him to come to the office tomorrow morning at 10. "You got it. See you tomorrow." But the next morning when Jones walked into the office, Scott hadn't finished the report yet. "Good morning, Mr. Jones. Sit down. Would you like a cup of coffee?" said Osborne, trying to gain some time until his operative brought in the report. "That would be nice. Thanks." Osborne poured scalding hot coffee into styrofoam cups, placing the sugar and cream within Jones's reach. When they had started drinking the coffee, Scott walked into the office and, after greeting Jones, gave a folder to his boss. Quickly, Osborne took out the original and gave it to his client, keeping the duplicate face down in front of him. Jones read the report without a change of expression. When he finished, he looked at Osborne directly and said, 3. "Beg your pardon? I was afraid of something like this. 3 of them in only 2 weeks. What are you talking about?" "Your report. It's really complete. It shows that she had 3 lovers in 2 weeks. Osborne choked on his coffee, spilling some on top of the copy of the report in front of him. He exclaimed, "What? Oh, pardon me," and, using the excuse of wiping the coffee from each page of the report, started reading it. When he finished, he felt weak and exhausted. With an effort, he raised his eyes to the face of his client, who, with a knowing look, asked slowly, enunciating each word very clearly, in a tone that really didn't anticipate an answer. "Don't you believe that there are some women you just can't trust?" Osborne sat frozen, the edges of the soaked report curling beneath his trembling hands. The taste of stale coffee lingered on his tongue, but the bitterness had nothing to do with caffeine. Jones stood up slowly, smoothing his suit jacket. He didn't smile. He didn't gloat. He simply nodded once, as if to seal something unspoken between them. Not just an investigation attack, but a shared, brutal truth. Osborne finally found his voice. "Mr. Jones, are you saying you knew?" Jones paused in the doorway, his back still to Osborne. "I suspected," he said quietly, "but I wanted to be sure. About her, about you." That last word hung in the air like smoke from a cigarette in a closed room. As the door clicked shut behind him, Osborne exhaled, long and slow. His hands unclenched from the report, he turned to the duplicate copy, still stained with coffee, and read it again, not as a professional, but as a man trying to trace the outline of betrayal he never saw coming. 3 lovers, not one, not just him. Christine had told him she was unhappy, sure, that Harold didn't understand her, that she wanted out, but she never told him she was seeing anyone else, never hinted, never gave him a reason to doubt her. Until now. Osborne stood, suddenly needing air. The office felt small, suffocating. He walked to the window and stared out at the city, bustling, indifferent, glittering in the morning sun. Scott knocked lightly, poking his head in. "Everything okay, boss?" Osborne didn't turn around. "Yeah," he said. "Just learned something new about the job." Scott tilted his head. "Like what?" Osborne turned, face unreadable. "Sometimes the truth doesn't just hurt the client. It takes out the detective, too." Scott nodded, though he didn't quite understand. And Osborne? He wasn't sure what to do next. Tell Christine? End it? Pretend it never happened? But one thing he knew for certain, he'd never look at a client the same way again. That night, Osborne couldn't sleep. The whiskey burned going down, but did nothing to numb the ache in his chest. He kept seeing the name Christine Ann next to 3 other men, and the cold precision of Scott's report only twisted the knife deeper. At 1:14 a.m., a knock shattered the silence of his apartment. He grabbed his revolver, just in case, and peered through the peephole. Christine, hair pulled back, sunglasses at night, a silk scarf tied at her neck like she'd walked out of a Hitchcock film. He opened the door, cautiously. "You're not answering your phone," she said, voice tight. "I've had a hell of a day." She stepped in without being invited, walked past him like she owned the place, like she always did. "What's going on, Marcus?" she asked, turning to face him. "You're acting strange." He studied her, searching for even a flicker of guilt in those sharp sea-glass eyes. "You tell me, how long were you going to keep lying?" Christine blinked a slow, calculated blink. "Lying about what?" "3 men, Christine. 3. There it was, the first crack. She took a slow step back, then in a breathless whisper, "You followed me?" "I didn't have to. Your husband did." The colour drained from her face. "Harold hired you?" Osborne nodded. "Came into my office like he didn't know me, like he didn't know us. Gave me your photo, said to spare no expense." Silence. Then she laughed, a hollow, bitter laugh that echoed through the apartment. "That bastard! All this time he was cheating too. You think I didn't know?" Osborne's jaw tightened. "Don't change the subject." Christine's face hardened. "You think I wanted this life? Married to a rich man who treated me like an accessory? I didn't fall for you because I was bored, Marcus. I fell for you because you made me feel alive." He softened for a split second, until her next words cut through the fog. "But I wasn't yours. Not completely. You never asked me to be." Osborne stepped back. "So that justifies sleeping with 2 other guys behind my back?" She didn't answer. He turned away, pouring himself a glass he didn't want. His hand trembled slightly. Christine walked toward the door. "I came here to explain, but maybe you don't want the truth anymore. Maybe you just want to feel betrayed." She paused in the doorway. "For what it's worth, I did love you." The door shut with a quiet click. And Osborne stood there, torn between heartbreak, fury, and the cold realization that in his line of work, the dirtiest secrets were the ones you never meant to uncover. 3 days later, Marcus Osborne stood across the street from the Marble County Courthouse, watching Christine Ann step out of a black car in a sleek navy dress and oversized sunglasses. Her divorce attorney, a tall redhead with stilettos sharper than her tone, walked beside her with a folder tucked under her arm, the kind that screams irreconcilable differences. Marcus lit a cigarette, something he hadn't done in 5 years. It tasted like ash and mistakes. He wasn't supposed to be here. Not really. But when Scott mentioned Christine had filed for divorce yesterday, he couldn't help it. He needed to see for himself. Across the way, Harold Jones exited his own vehicle, straightening his tie like it was armor. But instead of heading toward the courthouse doors, he stopped. He'd spotted Marcus. The two men locked eyes. It was the kind of stare that had weight, not anger, not even rivalry, just understanding. They were both pawns in Christine's game, and both had played themselves. Harold crossed the street. "I didn't expect to see you here," he said calmly. Marcus shrugged. "Curiosity." Harold nodded slowly. "Divorce makes philosophers of us all." They stood there like two ghosts haunting the same wound. Then Harold said, "I'm not filing for alimony. She can keep the beach house, but the stocks, the Jones name? No, that's mine." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "So this isn't about love anymore." Harold's eyes glinted. "It never was. It's about pride." A long silence. Then Harold added, "By the way, you weren't one of the three." Osborne's heart skipped. "What?" "You weren't in the report. I read it twice. Either your guy missed it, or she was careful to keep you off the radar." Marcus swallowed, hard. So what did that mean? That she really loved him? That he was the one she protected? Or was he just the fourth? That evening, Osborne returned to his office. There, on his desk, was a cream-coloured envelope. No name, just a lipstick kiss on the flap. He tore it open. Inside was a single piece of stationery, Christine's handwriting. "I didn't lie to you, Marcus. Not about the important things. Maybe one day, when this is over, we'll both be ready to start something real. Until then, try not to follow me again." He stared at the note, then at the glass of scotch in his hand, and laughed. God, he was in deep. 2 months. That's how long it had been since Christine Ann Jones had walked out of Marcus Osborne's life for the second time. This time, supposedly for good. Her divorce went through quietly. Harold got the money. Christine kept the silence. No phone calls, no lipstick letters, no late-night knocks on the door. And then one morning, a courier delivered a package to Osborne's agency. No return address, just M. Osborne in perfect handwriting. Inside, a velvet jewelry box containing the emerald ring he once saw on her finger, the one Harold gave her on their 5th anniversary, and a one-way plane ticket to Lisbon, Portugal. Departure date, 3 weeks ago. Taped to the inside lid of the box was a Polaroid. Christine on a boat. Hair blowing in the wind, a drink in one hand, smiling, free. And behind her, the unmistakable blue cliffs of the Algarve coast. Scott walked into the office just as Osborne was staring at the photo. "Hey, boss, you okay?" Osborne didn't answer right away. Then softly, "She's gone." Scott raised an eyebrow. "Like, gone? Gone? Gone like she always wanted to be." Scott looked at the photo, whistled low. "Think she'll come back?" Osborne closed the box gently and slipped it into the drawer. "She already did what she came here to do," he said. "The rest of us are just catching up." He stood, walked over to the window, and looked out at the city, full of people searching for answers, hiding from truths, chasing ghosts. The detective in him wanted to follow her trail. The man in him knew better. Some stories don't end. They just drift out to sea. Like her, like smoke, like love.